the Energy Coast Environment Building. For those who haven't met me, I'm Clint Wilson, Dean here at the College of the Coast Environment. It's such an honor to welcome you here and celebrate the retirement of my predecessor and friend, Chris D'Elia. Of course, none of this would be complete without also recognizing his wife, Jenny, his better half, as we say, for over 52 years. So Chris, Jenny, thank you all very much for coming. Again, thank you everybody here. Looking back at my time working with Chris since his arrival at LSU in 2009, I'm reminded how much he's meant to our college and community. Not only has he led our college with vision and determination, he's also made an impact far beyond LSU, serving on national, international boards, guiding staff and students as a mentor, and cheering them on as a passionate educator. If any of you have co-taught with Chris or watched him give a guest lecture, you know he loves teaching. And of course, behind the impressive resume is someone who values friendship, laughter, and helping others. Another aspect of this is, you know, there's really never a dull moment when Chris is around. We remember all the legendary holiday cards. I believe some of them are going to be on the hub back there, so you'll see some of those. If you were in the college leadership, chances were high that Chris had made you sport your brightest, loudest Hawaiian shirt, right, for the team photo. And another thing maybe that's come back is if the office ever smelled like freshly popped popcorn, you knew Chris was not around that day. His aversion to the smell of popcorn is stuff of staff legend. Okay? That is probably the only thing I've changed, is yes, we do have popcorn. Okay? No, not today, okay? That's right. I think it's also a testament to Chris's leadership and influence that we're joined by several former deans and assistant deans today. I know I've seen Russ Chapman here, Rick Shaw, Ed Laws was here. I don't know if Bob Allen's here. Okay. Anyways, but each of you, really set the stage for the impact, the growth that the school and now the college has had, not just to our students, but really to the state and the nation. We're also lucky to have, I guess, 3 current deans with us who work closely with Chris. Oliver Gardner with the Med School, Eric Lau with Music and Dramatic Arts, and Jonathan Earl with the Honors College. As well as advisory council members, Richard Lipsey's here, Liz Hampton is here, Liz was standing right here, Liz is over here, and Tom Broom. So you can always see Tom in the room, right? But thank you all for really to help us celebrate and mark this milestone. In a few moments, you're going to hear from a couple of them with some remarks and share some thoughts about Chris. If you know Chris, you know he's a passionate advocate for the environment and just as passionate about his love for music. It's wonderful to see friends here from both of those worlds. I know we've got our music contingent over here. I know at least 3 of them over there. Thank you, Jennifer, Eric, and Jim for coming. Chris's dedication really to creating an exceptional student, really staff and faculty experience has really inspired many. He's a firm believer in the magic happens when you connect arts and the sciences, and he puts that belief into action time and time again. During Chris's tenure, we've continued that. The college became hopefully a livelier place filled with music, from concerts, recitals, pop-up performances. These energies, these events add a lot of fresh energy to the building, I think to the community we have here, and also give everyone a chance to pause and enjoy some time together. Under Chris's leadership, our college also achieved remarkable progress. The fastest growing undergraduate program we started, the Coastal Environmental Science program. We now have a Coastal Meteorology program, thanks to Chris and a lot of people in this room, that already has 25 or 30 undergraduate students, and we started in the fall. Okay? During his tenure, the college brought in well over $100 million in research awards, and most importantly, really prepared graduates to have an impact in industry, government, and academia. I do want to maybe go a little off script here for a second and point out, when we say that $100 million, I want to first say about $60 million that came in the last 5 years, okay? And what I want to point out, in research expenditures, actually, the past fiscal year, were up about 1.76 times, so almost a factor of 2 over the last 5 years. And what I want to point out there is it's not like, oh, that's the year I became dean, okay? Because the point is, you need to remember, You have to write the proposals. Sometimes you got to resubmit them 2 or 3 times. You've got to get them reviewed. You've got to get the award. That award has to be processed. Then you've got to hire people, right? And then you've got to actually execute, right, and with the accounting and everything else and the research. And so when I say, oh, look how much money we brought in last fiscal year, that's actually work that was done 2, 3, 5, 6 years previously. And so I think that's a testament to Chris really growing the college in terms of the research and the impact. I also want to point out that a lot of that happens because of the wonderful staff, okay? We were talking yesterday at a luncheon that since I've been here, not one staff member has left the college, okay, in over 2.5 years. And I think if you look around LSU, that's probably fairly uncommon, okay? So the staff make a lot of that happen, along with the faculty. It's now my pleasure to introduce Mr. Richard Lipsey. He's a steadfast supporter. He and his family have been steadfast supporters of the College of the Coast Environment at LSU. Since 1978, the Lipsey family has generously celebrated more than 80 outstanding graduate students and 31 distinguished faculty members for their remarkable contributions, scholarship, and achievements. Beyond these honors, Mr. Lipsey has been a driving force behind many positive changes here at the college, including transformation of the School of the Coast Environment into a full college in 2001. And also, I was looking yesterday, somebody brought out of the archives a newsletter from 2003. And in the inset of that newsletter was a photo of this building. There's no landscaping anywhere around it. It was brand new, it's just been built. So again, Richard, we are truly grateful to you and your family. Honored to have you here today and to share some thoughts about your friend, Chris D'Elia.
Good, thank you, Dean. Well, it's my pleasure to be here today, and I'm not sure why he put me number 2 right after you on the program. I'm not important. You guys are the ones that are important, and me and my family are just so proud to have been associated with just this department. We started when it all started when I used to take a couple of grad students fishing to the Grand Isle Tarpon Rodeo. It was just a thought at that time. And luckily, we've had some great chancellors and presidents at the university. And when we took the idea, Bill Wilson and myself took the idea to Mark Emmert way back when to make this a school, and he agreed to it, and we became the School of Coastal Environment, and then the college, and worked with Russ Chapman and Ed Laws and so many people over the course of years. And of course, today we're honoring and talking about Dean Chris, who's retiring. But it's you all, I don't know that you all realize how important the college is to the university. You all know that you bring in more grants than any other department in the university. And the thing that I've enjoyed so much, I saw it before it was just the College of the Coastal Environment, the School of Coastal Environment, where we finally started bringing in an undergraduate program, which really bolstered this school into one of the most premier coastal environment type university departments in a university throughout the country. And all the deans and the faculty, I've known so many of you, Rick, for so many years. You've all stayed, nobody leaves. You've taken it to new heights. You've come up with new programs. Clint has taken it to a new height and started all types of new programs out here. We're just so proud of what you have done. But my association with Chris and Jenny is what has been important. We've been friends since the moment he walked on the campus, and he is responsible for leading this college to new heights in so many different ways. And Jonathan Earl here can testify how important this is to the entirety of the LSU campus. And we're just so proud of you. I'm proud to call you a friend and to have celebrated so many occasions over these many years. I can't believe that in a couple of years I'm going to be 90 years old. And I've been enjoying this friendship with this school for so many years. And my brother and I, years ago, started a few scholarships, and we've carried those on for years, and I guarantee you they will go on in perpetuity. But today it's all about you, Chris. We congratulate you. We thank you for all that you have done for the university, and how proud I am personally, but I know everyone here is, to have called you a friend. And we know and hope you all will stick around Baton Rouge and not zoom off to Florida too soon. And just know that we love you, we appreciate you. Thank you all for all you have done for LSU, our lovely, wonderful alma mater. Thank you, Chris.
Richard, again, thank you for being, not only a valued advisory council member, but, the generous gifts and support you've provided to the college, and also whispering, maybe sometimes shouting words of wisdom whenever I seek your counsel, and I appreciate that. It's now my pleasure to introduce Jonathan Earl, Dean of the LSU Roger Hatfield Ogden Honors College, a friend and sometimes co-conspirator to our man of the hour. Jonathan, I know you and Chris have spent a lot of time together. You're the second longest tenured dean on campus. Yeah. So if you would say a few things, please.
Thank you. Go ahead. Let me start by stating the obvious, and I've mentioned this to staff members and faculty members and deans who are here. We don't all get to go out quite like this. Especially deans. We don't get to choose the timing often or the manner of our exit from the stage. So I do applaud Chris and Jenny for this is one of the nicest parties I've been to for a departing colleague, so congratulations on that. I did write a few things down, and thank you so much for inviting me to be part of this. Everybody here knows that each academic career is unique, and today we're here to celebrate someone who has, in my opinion, done it all. As a teacher, as a scholar, as an administrator, all at the absolute highest levels. By the time I arrived at LSU in 2014, Chris was the Dean of the Deans, which is our term for the longest serving dean on the campus. I think he was only in his fifth or sixth year as dean, but we're short-lived creatures sometimes. But I assure you that Chris D'Elia was the one that a newbie like me sought out when I had a really difficult question. Like, how do I stop HR from stonewalling me? How do you get the attention of LSU's most wise and generous donors, people like Richard and Susan Lipsey? How do you fill out a cut sheet? Now, this is a term of art back, hopefully, permanently in the past, when deans would have to make a plan for what would happen if Governor Jindal cut 5% of our budgets, or 10% of our budgets, or 15% of our budgets. And I guarantee you that all the deans had the 15% column was like, close up shop. We don't have 15% to cut. But Chris was the person who taught me and taught many people at numerous institutions how to preserve the integrity of the college or the school or the department while making it look good for legislators and bean counters at the university. I really appreciate that, Chris. What I can say about Chris's advice is it is always delivered with wisdom and with humor and with friendship, and mostly with understanding. And I think there are reasons for this. First is a quick look at Dr. D'Elia's CV. He really has done it all, like I said. He's risen to the top among marine scientists, to the American Association for the Advancement of Science, direct the Sea Grant program at the University of Maryland, take on the Vice President for Research duties at the University of Albany, Vice Chancellor at USF St. Pete, and finally Dean of CC&E here at LSU. The other reason why I think he is such a good advice giver is his temperament, which I've heard mentioned already today a few times. He loves people. He loves the arts, especially opera. He loves travel. And I was really fortunate it was 10 years ago now, Chris and I got to be a part of a Louisiana trade mission to Cuba. And I just remember Chris and I look at each other saying, like, they're paying us to be in a motorcade in Cuba. This is so cool. And if you ever have a chance to travel with Jenny and Chris, you are very fortunate if you're able to say yes. Despite all the science, Chris is really a Renaissance humanist at heart. When Chris stepped down from being dean of this beautiful college, we passed a Dean of Deans moniker around, along with a plaque to the next in line, the next longest serving dean. As I said, not all deans get to choose the timing or manner of their exit, and the title became something of a curse. The next two people that held it were quickly exited from the stage. Not their call. Right now, Stanley Wilder, the Dean of the Libraries, and I both introduce each other by saying that we're the Dean of the Deans. He actually started 2 weeks before me, so I think it's good that he can have that title. But Chris really lived up to that title, and I'm not kidding. He understood that lifting up others, students, researchers, faculty, other deans, is at the center of what being an effective administrator is all about, no matter where you are appointed. And I was thrilled that after he stepped down, he continued to teach his honors microbiology class over in the French House. And I know that he's teaching tomorrow, so he's not really retiring 100%. But I do want to raise our glasses or our shrimp wrapped in bacon and toast a new chapter for Chris and Jenny and congratulate them both on a career and a job very well done. Cheers.
Again, thank you, Jonathan, for those wonderful words. I noticed Jenny's eyes kind of bugged out when she heard that Chris is teaching tomorrow. Right? Anyways, so before I invite Chris up here to have some remarks and talk a little bit about kind of his plans, his thoughts, etc. Really what I do first is present you with two gifts. So Chris, why don't you come up first, then I'll let you speak. Let's see, I know it's in here somewhere. Okay, here we go. So the first here is a trophy honoring your exceptional leadership at LSU. We hope it finds a place of pride in your home, serving as a reminder of your impactful time at LSU. So, should I open it? Yes, please open it. How many D's does it take to open a present?
Actually, one did, I guess.
There you go. And then second, we have a framed photo of the building. We have a framed photo of the building that served as your home away from home for 16 years, as we talked about with Jenny yesterday. You'll notice the mat is filled with well wishes from those who are here today. May these gifts bring warm memories of LSU and the college whenever you see them. And then to those of you who are here, if you didn't get a chance to sign the mat around the photo, we're going to have it back on that table after we present it to Chris. So again, Chris, congratulations. The podium is yours.
Well, first, I'd really like to meet this guy, Chris D'Elia. He sounds like a Thank you, Clint, Richard, Jonathan, everybody here, my former colleagues, the deans, my wonderful Sibel Bargatesh, who was my associate dean, and now serves as the dean of the graduate school, I hope, permanently in the future. And also so many other great, wonderful friends. I have a connection with every one of you in this room. Just to single out a few, Gene Turner and I go way back. We were graduate students together at the University of Georgia in 1969. That was even before I met my wife, so God help me, I've known Gene Turner longer than my wife. I've known his wife, Nancy Rabelais, since the early 80s through the Estrin Research Foundation. We both served as presidents of that foundation. And then I see John Day over there. I've known John Day since time immemorial. We probably first met at an ASL or an IRF meeting, I can't tell what, but it was surely in the 70s. Pretty much everybody else in the rotunda I've come to know during my nearly 17-year tenure at LSU. Can't believe that, it's a long time. I can't express enough my gratitude for your support and your friendship during that important part, indeed 1/3 of my 51-year career in academia. Some very flattering things have been said about me. I'm proud to have had the opportunity to contribute to my wonderful college, to LSU, and to the great state of Louisiana. Now, I will just tell you, a lot of very challenging things have happened here since I became dean in 2009. I was initiated into the job with the Macondo oil spill in 2010, and that saw a whole bunch of luminaries traipse through this very building, including the head of NOAA, the head of EPA, and so many other important figures who were dealing with the spill. So that was quite an exciting time, and I was fortunate to have known them before I arrived here. And then that was followed by a series of budget crises shortly thereafter. But oh wait, there's more. We had the floods of 2018, and thereafter a spate of hurricanes, heat waves, and ice storms. There is never a dull weather moment in Louisiana. Despite all of this, our college and LSU have prospered, primarily through the efforts of our fine faculty and staff, and our wonderful supporters like Richard and Susan Lipsey, whom I'm extremely grateful for. And let me diverge from my prepared test, which I never do, but I'm deciding to. Knowing Richard has been a trip because I've got invited to a number of significant events that he's been in charge of. One of the more notable ones was his 80th birthday party. And his daughter Lori got up and they had a stage set up, and she said, "We have a surprise entertainer for you tonight." And we all stood there and wondered who it would be. And out marches Jay Leno. That was just an incredible experience. And then when he was king of the Washington, D.C. Mardi Gras, I was up there along with people like the governor and others. And Richard said, "We have a surprise entertainer tonight." And out marches Michael Bublé. So that was incredible. And he performed for like an hour and a half. Amazing night, amazing night. Anyway, we've been very fortunate to have the support of the Lipseys and many other people. Now, our college's most recent successes have been the development of a degree in coastal meteorology. And I always wondered how the flagship university in one of the most severely weather-prone states in the country did not have a program like this. Well, with the help of dedicated faculty like Paul Miller and Bob Rowley. Paul's here today. Bob is at the AMS meeting in Houston. This finally did happen, but it wasn't easy. So again, thanks to everybody who helped my dreams for LSU and CC&E become reality. Now it is time for Jenny and me to do much more than just say thanks. We have a special announcement. Would Chris Marshall join Clint, Jenny, and me up here? Chris represents the foundation. Jenny, you are summoned. You okay?
I got it.
Okay. Jenny is prone to low blood pressure, so it's always exciting. Okay, well, and here it is. pleased to announce that we are endowing a scholarship, the D'Elia Family Scholarship, to LSU. And we've already paid. The first installment.
I'm keeping this.
You can't go back on it now.
Now, fortune has smiled on us, and so we're glad to be able to make an installment on this, but we're not going to pay the whole 100K in one fell swoop. Although I will say my two financial gurus are in this room tonight, and they're doing a great job for us. So the scholarship will be a total of $100,000 be paid in 5 annual installments, and once the full amount is received, we'll start paying out. So, if you want to help us reach that goal sooner, we would certainly appreciate it. Now, we'll still contribute our full share, and that would make the endowment total even larger. Now, this is a retirement party, not a fundraiser, but I can never resist the urge, as a former dean and a few other things, to put a good word in about the importance of generosity of LSU supporters. I would like to note also that among our highest donors to the college are professors like me, some of whom are in the room, who passionately believe in the importance of CC&E. And that is, I think, if you're going to invest your own money in your brand, that says something about you and the excellence of the place you work. But with that, I will stop, and I will thank you again for being here to celebrate with Jenny and me. It's been a great ride, and you guys have made it even better.
Chris and Jenny, thank you so much for your generous gift and also the time and energy, passion you brought here. I do think I skipped over a part of the schedule. I'm going to blame no reading glasses on that. But I thought maybe we don't want to take a lot of time, but I would like, if anybody here would like to maybe say a few words. I know there were a couple people that had talked about maybe saying a few words. Chris, their G Turner, his ecology husband, right? Something?
So I want to correct something that Chris said. We actually passed on a cross-country trail in high school, and he crossed me, I'm sure, because I didn't want the pain, and obviously he's become an administrator and did want the pain. Right? And one thing we did in graduate school was to go out on a cruise.
The Eastward.
The first one on Eastward, which is a very kooky boat. But we didn't get sick as far as I know.
No.
Not this time, so. That's where I read this book called Sand County Almanac by Aldo Leopold. And one of the famous lines in there is that he defined what a professional is, which is who's somebody who gives you more than you think you would ever get. And I want to say that about Chris. And the other thing is the way he did that, it was in a very, and continues to do this, is a very non-transactional way. It's not expecting something in return, but it's doing something that comes from deep inside to give out to it. So thank you.
I can't resist. One of the things that Gene and I did was we were organizers. We were organizers of the very first Earth Day at UGA, and that was really an exceptional experience. And it's interesting to see how things have changed in that 53 years or whatever it is now. But a lot of the issues still remain.
Thank you, Chris. Anybody else? Come on, Leah. I know you want to say something. Thank you.
I'll just say a few things. Chris hired me in 2010. It was close to the end of his first year here, and he stole me away from the school of social work. And he basically gave me the keys to the college and kind of said, do your thing. I just have 2 rules. Keep me out of the newspaper and keep me out of jail. Chris, I think I did that. Yeah. But you know, there's so many things about working for Chris that I really appreciated, and one was his trust and his faith. Even when we didn't maybe see things the same, he always appreciated my input. And you know, those of you who work with Chris knows he's a man of big ideas, but sometimes those ideas transition to grandiose. And you know, the thing I've always said, and Rick Shaw used to tell me, don't go in his office without a notepad and a pen, because he would just start spouting out ideas. But one thing I appreciated about Chris is he takes no well. So if I would come back and say, you know, Chris, I think that's too much, let's just do this, he would say, that you're right, let's do that. So I think it was just, I mean, I just thank the heavens forever that our paths have crossed, and we had these 14 years together. It was a great experience. And I know I speak for all the staff when I say he was just a great leader for us. You know, he instituted a staff award at convocation. He went out of his way to make sure that staff knew that we were appreciated. So on behalf of everyone, we just say thank you.
I've made some good hires before, but there's the best, I tell you. And I thank Lily Allen over there for directing her in our way, because that is very important. Now, when it comes to no, I had one very important voice saying that quite often, and that's Karen Jones, who's right here, who was my assistant for like 12 years. And Karen used to come up to me and say, "You can't do that, you're a dean." And I usually listen to her.
Neely, you taking notes on this, right? Okay, good, that's right, exactly. Again, Chris, you know, you've left a legacy, you know, one built on hard work, compassion, creative thinking. You know, you transformed not just our college, but really the LSU, the Louisiana community, the nation's community, touched countless lives. Before I kind of finish up here and get everyone back to the wine, etc. First of all, I've noted one other testament, I think, to your impact is, you know, when we look around, we see people from every college here, whether it's humanities and social sciences, music, dramatic arts, College of Science, you know, communication across the curriculum, it's office academic affairs. I think that's a testament to really the impact you've had. Second thing I want to do is, first off, again, thank the staff for putting together this wonderful event. You know, it's we do parties pretty well over here. So, but on behalf of everyone here, you know, thank you, Chris, Jenny, for everything. We really can't wait to see and hear about your next adventures, right, and what's coming next. So for the rest of you, please, you know, if you haven't signed the picture, the mat, please do that. There's more food and drink here, and I know Chris and Jenny will be around. So thank you, everybody, for coming and making this a really great day.